Hi guys, it's Mrs. Jacqua. We're going to be doing the unit pre-test, so that way you can be ready for the test. A big ol' hint, use a TI-83 calculator. If you don't have one, you can borrow one from Mrs. Spillman or Mrs. Snyder. Well, actually it's Mrs. Geyer. Mrs. Spillman will be able to help you too. That's my big ol' hint, use a TI-83 calculator. Okay, let's go. On the left is going to be the PowerPoint. I'll do some work there, but then on the right is another, it's a PowerPoint empty one where I will do my work on the right side. Let's get her started. Okay, write an augmented matrix for the given system of the equations. I sure hope you guys do not miss this one. All you're doing is pulling off the coefficients. That's your augmented matrix. This is a dotted line, in case you can't tell. Okay, number 2. Which matrix is not in row echelon form? Row echelon form means that we're going to have 1s on the diagonal and 0s underneath. Whoops, I did that weird. Anyway, so this one does not have 0s all the way underneath, so this one is not in row echelon form. Solve the system of equations using Gaussian elimination. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm first going to set up it in augmented form because I like working it that way. Besides, they told you to do Gaussian elimination, which lends itself to augmented form. However, if you really hate doing it this way, hold on. Okay, so on the other board over here, I'm going to begin writing it. So I'm just going to rewrite it with row 3. I need to start over. I need to have more room. Row 3 becomes row 1, which is 1, 2, 1. Put my dots. I'm just going to use a straight line because that's going to be easier for me webinar-wise. And then I'm going to do row 2 plus row 3. Just going to be 0, 4, 0, negative 4. And then I'm going to take 2 times row 2 plus row 1. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to write out what that is. It's easier for me to do that. So this is negative 2, 4, negative 2, 0. That was 2 times row 2 plus row 1. Then I'm going to combine them. This becomes 0, 3, and then this is going to become row 1 again. I'm going to take row 2 and divide by 4. And then we'll adjust that in a second. So this is a 1, 2, 1 straight line. Negative 4. And then it's going to be 0, 1, 0, negative 1. It's not 11, that's a 1. And then I'm going to take row 2 divided by row 4 times negative 3. Okay, so this is going to be, let's change colors. And we're going to add it to row 3. So doing that, that became 0, -3, 0, +3, which lends us to 0, 0, 1, -1. Okay. So what this means currently, I know what don't know what my x is, I know what my y is, and I know what my z is. My z is -1, my y is -1, and then all I need to do is plug it in to there, to where I have 1x plus 2y plus z equals -4. Plug in my -1, my -1. So then I have 1x minus 2 minus 1 equals -4. Add 3 to both sides, so x equals -1. So this was my solution. Now you can always make sure to get your answers right by plugging -1 into everything. Okay? And if you plug -1 into everything, each equation, first, second, and third, then you're going to know if you got the right answer. And you'll know if you got my test right. You can actually check every answer you want on the test. It's kind of super cool. Okay, so the way that I'm going to set this problem up, if you need to pause and read it, you can, but I'm going to just go ahead and do it. Okay, so on these ones, what I want to do is I want to have the leading coefficient as 1. So I'm going to divide this row by 20, divide this by 40, divide this by 50. You can approach this any way you want to. This is what I'm going to do. And then that middle one, I'm just going to divide by 10 because I can do that in my head. Everything else I could do otherwise, but I don't know, 6 divided by... Okay, and that was just because that's what I chose to do. Okay, you can approach this anyway in a multiple ways. I changed my mind. I'm going to do that by 10. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're just going to write row 1 again. So that's 1, 0, 1.15. We're going to take row 2, 3 minus row 1. So that'd be -1, 0, -1, minus 0.15. This gives me 0, 1, 0, 0.15. And then I'm going to take -4 times row 1 plus row 2. So that's going to be negative 4, 0. Just kidding. That was 0. That was 0. Okay. Now we're super close to where we want to be. However, we want to get rid of that 2. So I'm going to have row 1 again, row 2. And then I'm going to take negative 2 times row 2 plus row 3. So that's negative 2, 0, negative 0.3, 0. So I had 0, 0, negative 3, negative 0.3. Did it stick? I'm having issues with my 3's. Okay. So what this lends itself to is negative 3z equals negative 0.3. So z equals 0.10. Because we're dealing with money, so cents, right? And y equals 0.15. And x equals 0.15. So we're going to come over here and hearts. Your x is your hearts, so your hearts, which is z. No, not your z, that's your x. Hello. Hearts are 0.15. Stars were your y's, equals 0.15. And then your diamonds were your z's, which is 10 cents. There you go. So to work that problem, super cool. Okay, find the determinant of this. I think I'm going to show you how to do this problem 2 ways. Here's the first way, is the determinant equals negative 2 is a positive position, 4 is a negative position, 0 is a positive position. So when we look at this, let's go to green, 0. So we're going to do negative 2, and we're going to look at these 2 cells. Times the determinant of negative 4, negative 1, 0. And then we're going to go for 4. 4 is in a negative position, so we're going to put a negative in front of the 4. And then we're going to box out those 2 parts. We're going to look for the determinant of 2 or 3, 2, negative 1, and 0. And then here's the super cool part. If I look at 0, then I'm going to add 0 times the determinant of 3, 2. Let's do this over here. And then negative 4, negative 1. However, oh, this thing's, oh, it's maddening. This will equal 0 because it says times 0. Okay, so then we just have to focus on the green and the red for right now. So when we find the determinant, it's 2, negative 2 times negative 4 times 0 is 0 minus positive 1, so minus 1. Minus, let's do my red, minus 4, and then we're going to do 3 times 0, which is 0, and then minus a negative 2. Oh, it should have been a parenthesis. So this is going to be 2 minus 8 equals negative 6. Didn't even write it. Oh, this is annoying, guys. No idea. So on the other whiteboard, I'm going to show you how to work this determinant another way. 2, 3, 2. Well, negative 2, 3, 2. 4, negative 1, negative 1, 0, negative 1, 0. Rewrite the first two columns, negative 2, 3, 2, negative 4, negative 1, negative 1. And we're going to go on this positive diagonal. Oops, I missed that. Positive diagonal multiply, I mean, that's going to give me 0. Multiply those, I get negative 8. Multiply those, and I get 0. This is super annoying, by the way. And then let's do our subtraction row. So that's going to be minus 0. Subtraction, so it'll be minus a negative 2. And subtraction minus 0. So this becomes negative 8. That was minus a negative 2. Plus 2 equals negative 6. I don't care which way you want to work the determinant. Both ways work. Okay, so let's multiply these two. Now, this is kind of cool. I love multiplying these suckers. I don't know why, but I do. It's really hard to learn, though. It's always nice when they put negative zeros in there, by the way. So I'm going to take row 1 times column 1 for position 1. So that's going to be negative positive 0.3 plus 0. Because 2 times 0 is 0. So then we're going to take row 1 times column 2 for row 1, column 2 position. It's going to be negative 9. Negative 3 times 3, and then 2 times negative 2, so negative 4. And then let's go for row 2, column 1. And that's going to be negative 1 times 0.1, which makes a positive 0.1 plus 0. And then let's go for one more color. I need more colors. See if this does it. That works, times row column 2. So that's going to be negative 3 minus 1. Okay, and then we just go ahead and we figure out what our answer is. And that's going to be 0.3, 0.1, negative 13, and negative 4. Bingo, done. Multiply matrices. Find the inverse if it exists. The way to find the inverse is this is how you set it up. Bit the row echelon, sucker the ups. And then you do row operations until you get to 0. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite row 1, and then I'm going to multiply row 2. Oh, I'm going to have row 2 written as row 1. 5 times row 2 plus row 1. Row 2 is 1, negative 1, 0, 1. Then I'm going to do 5 times it, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to multiply it by 5. This is going to be 5, negative 5, 0, and 5. I'm going to combine those two, and I get 0, negative 1, 1, and 5. Okay, then all I need to do is I need to negate. I'm going to write row 1 again as 1, negative 1, 0, 1. Then I'm going to do the negative of row 2. And then I have 0, 1, negative 1, negative 5. Then all I have to do is do row 1 minus row 2 and row 2. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to put in red below it. So I just subtract those, and I get 1. No, I don't. I just need to add them. No negatives in front, just row 1 plus row 2. Which gives me 1, 0, negative 1, negative 4. And then 0, 1, negative 1, negative 5. And so my inverse matrix is negative 1, negative 1, negative 4, negative 5. And if you can show me all your work, you could check it on a calculator. If you use a calculator to give me the answer, you can't get all credit. So this one we're going to use a calculator to help us out. Okay, so our matrix that we're dealing with, augmented matrix that we're dealing with, is negative 3, 5, 1, 1, 2, negative 3, 1, negative 4, negative 7. And this is why you want a calculator, 2, 21, negative 10. Oh, crap. That's going to be B. That's going to be A. So when you get A, you want to find A inverse, because when I do A inverse times B, I get my answer. So that's what I'm going to do on a really cool graphing calculator. So I'm going to find A inverse. I'm going to multiply it by B. It's going to be 2, 21, negative 10. And let's go find it. So the website that I'm using is Math is Fun, and you can do these on TI-83 calculators. So let's come back here so I know what I'm inputting. This is going to be negative 3, 1, 1, 5, 2, negative 4, 1, negative 3, negative 7. My B needs to be 3 by 1, so that's 2, 21, negative 10. First thing to do is find your inverse of A. And then I'm going to make this become my A. And then I'm going to multiply A times B. And then the resulting matrix that I got was 1, 6, negative 1. And what that means is that X equals 1, Y equals 6, and z equals -1. So then I can also write it like this. 1, 6, -1. So that's how you find it using a calculator or some sorts. Use Cramer's rule to solve the system of equations. So let's pull off our augmented components. -3, 3, -15, 6, -9, 39. Okay, and we're going to come over to the whiteboard, the fake whiteboard. We'll call it a gray board. Haha. And we're going to solve for x equals the determinant of -3, 3. Whoops, I lied. That one's not it. This one's over -3, 3, 3. Whoops, that wasn't it either. 6, 3, -9. And then the top determinant is, replace the x column with the equals column, 15, 39, 3, -9. Okay, and then the y equals, same bottom, and the determinant, you replace the y column instead with your equals column. Okay, so let's work this problem out. This one becomes, you're going to find the determinant of all the parts. Gotta figure out my calculator parts. This is a positive 135 minus 117 over 27 minus 18. You add, then you multiply and subtract that part, which is 135 it's 18 over, this is having issues, over 9, so x equals 2. Then we'll come over here for the other one. This is going to be -117 minus a -90 all over, we already know what that was, it's 9. So this is going to be -27 over 9, so y equals -3. There's our answer, 2, -3. Okay, we'll start with number 9 when we start again.